Well, I have said it and I maintain, Charles, there's no democracy in Nigeria today. Nigeria today is not a democratic country. Let's stop telling ourselves lies. If you look at all the tenets, look at all the yardstick of measuring democracy, it doesn't exist here.
In his April 1st, 2025 interview on Arise Television, Peter Obi, the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate, critiqued President Bola Tinubu's administration, asserting that it has not fulfilled its promises to Nigerians. Obi emphasized that within 2 years he would have implemented significant changes in key sectors, focusing on combating corruption and reducing the cost of governance. He highlighted the misallocation of resources, pointing out that over N35 billion was spent on a conference center, while 70% of primary healthcare facilities remain non-functional. Obi advocated for proper investment of borrowed funds into critical areas like healthcare. Drawing comparisons to Bangladesh, Obi suggested that Nigeria could leverage its larger landmass to enhance rice production, noting that Bangladesh produces about 60 million metric tons of rice on 148,000 square kilometers of land, whereas Nigeria, with over 6 times that area, produces significantly less. Regarding economic policies, Obi agreed with the devaluation of the Naira but criticized its execution. He proposed a more organized approach to floating the currency, emphasizing the need to support productivity to ensure that such monetary policies yield positive outcomes. For a more in-depth understanding, watch and listen to the interview.
Let's reflect on the 2 years into President Tinubu's term, what is known as the midterm. As we look into what he's been doing for the last 2 years, how would you assess his midterm?
Well, Charles, I always don't want to be involved in assessing this present government, because I've always remained consistent that he is doing well. Because what he promised the people is exactly what he's doing. That he will start and continue from where the previous government stopped. And that is doing well, Charles. He can go and use every measure. I've said it in this studio before. Somebody who made dollar at 300 and something, 400, is now 1,005. Charles is done fantastic. Same in fuel, same in everything, same in unemployment, everywhere, in terms of democracy, in terms of everything, is on the sliding side. And that is doing well, because that's what he promised. Well, I have said it and I maintain, Charles, there's no democracy in Nigeria today. Nigeria today is not a democratic country. Let's stop telling ourselves lies. If you look at all the tenets, look at all the yardstick of measuring democracy, it doesn't exist here. Simple definition, democracy is government of the people, by the people, for the people. Today, the government we have is not of the people. It's not by the people because the people didn't vote. It wasn't their votes. I'm not just talking about presidency, across the line. Look at what happened in Edo. Can you call that democracy? It is not vote of the people. And it's not for the people. I've just told you that I went to an IDP camp where we have thousands of people, no primary health care. They were begging me to have one nurse, which I said I must make sure. They don't even have primary school, which again I told them I will make sure it happens. So what are you doing? For a country that just spent 21 billion naira to renovate a house for the vice president, which is not, hasn't packed in, is not living there. And you cannot even have a primary school for kids who are going to be leaders of Nigeria tomorrow. So it is not a democratic country. So it's not for the people. You can't have a democracy without a functional and effective legislature. which you know we don't have today. You can't have a democracy without, again, an independent judiciary that fights for the common person. I can go on and on. In a democracy, it is clear. There's guidelines. Even when you set for people vying for election, like in Nigerian case, you have to talk about people must be qualified. They must have primary school, secondary school, university, and must attain certain age. Charles, that is not happening today. People are with unverified, forged certificates all over the place, criminal records and everything, and they're in charge. So you cannot say that. It is, yes, maybe we're striving to be a democratic country, but the way we are today is not. Look at what happened in the rivers that you mentioned. Can you call that democracy?